Hi, this is my initial post for Module 5. So this week we're to talk about or to discuss ways in which diversity and administration in higher education has caused us to reflect more in these areas while doing our project or while conducting our project. My project was on young white males in group homes. In doing that project, I kind of, as I was interviewing the residents, and not just the residents, but in talking with the mental health workers there about how these students engage in school, I kept thinking, what if they decide to go to college? Will they, they particularly don't think that they'll ever make it there. But what if they do? How is higher education going to receive them? And I think one of the problems in higher education is that most people assume that everybody that goes to college are from similar backgrounds. By similar, I mean that you think it's kind of embarrassing to point out certain things, but at the same time, it's more of a disadvantage. More of an advantage to point out the things that hold us back. For instance, first generation students, they are now just coming out, as they say, coming out, because they are realizing that a lot of the things and terminologies that are being used, they don't know anything about them, and they don't have parents that had this experience before, so they feel at an extreme disadvantage, and they don't want to say, okay, well, I didn't raise up, I didn't grow up with laptops, or I didn't have all this access to technology in my home because we just couldn't afford it. And then you have, say, someone coming from a group home, and you enter into higher education, and you're in classes, and they're talking about families and problems, being reared in the home by your parents, and so I'm not saying that those are things that should always be brought up, but I definitely believe that there should be a different way to address or to make sure that everyone knows that they're included. And that's a part of having a diverse environment, because all students will not be the same, and everyone will not have the same backgrounds, and the only way to make sure that diversity exists on college campuses is to make sure that we have an all-inclusive environment that invites everyone with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, with different varying backgrounds of different classes, genders, race. And we mostly focus on race, a lot, but then there are so many other ways that we need to really adjust to, or not just adjust, but in ways that we need to create social justice for all. In the text for this particular section, I was reading the section on Towards a New Vision, and it talks about the 3 ways to create social justice, the 3 issues that need to be addressed in order to begin the process of social justice. And the first is that we have to acknowledge that there are differences in power and privilege, and everybody have their own experiences, but those differences shouldn't keep us from coming together for a common cause, which is the second one, a coalition around solidarity, uniting against the enemy, and there is an enemy of social justice. And the third issue is to build empathy. I can't, really understand who you are if I don't try to put myself in your shoes. And that takes reflection and self-examination. So there's a lot to be done, and I think education is the key. So higher education would be a great platform for this work to begin. So hopefully things will begin to change. So that's my initial post.